Yo, 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 what's really good? What's really hood? Welcome to the Jamani Show. Welcome to the Jamani Show. It's your boy Jay. I got a quick question for y'all, fam. Yo, did Mendeecees allegedly beat up Jim Jones back in the days in Harlem? Did Mendeecees allegedly beat up Jim Jones in Harlem back in the days? Give me y'all perspective, man. Keep it $1.50. Tell me how y'all feel about that. One.
Yandy! Hi, Yandy.
This is my husband.
Yo, don't touch me. Tell your husband don't touch me.
Wait, let me. I do it, baby. No, baby. I do it since I was a kid.
Don't touch me.
No, I do it since I was young. I do it since I was young.
Don't touch me, nigga.
Fucking talk to my husband like that. Fucking crazy. Don't talk to my husband like that.
Give me a hug.
Listen,
why you had
to jump you, Flip?
I just want to talk to you.
See, you
my
doing
nephew
this again. Come on, Flip.
I want to
Flip. You're playing with the hands and you yelling. Come on.
Why you had them jump me?
I didn't have nobody jump you.
So why didn't touch me for?
You touched me. You smacked my hand.
Alright, so what, man? I give you a hug.
Come on, Flip.
No!
Come on. See,
no,
stop. Flip.
Don't touch me. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. You touch me again.
When reality TV star Mendeecees Harris got into a furious altercation with an enraged fan, tensions escalated in a way that nobody could have anticipated. What began as a normal appearance swiftly descended into mayhem. Allegations were made, voices were raised, and everyone was left in amazement by the startling disclosures. According to witnesses, Mendeecees was pushed to the limit by the fans' agenda, which he claimed went beyond simple inquiries. Is there more to this story than meets the eye, or might this dramatic altercation endanger his reputation? The drama you're about to discover will leave you stunned, so pay attention. Mendeecees Harris, a man accustomed to public appearances and fan interactions, was expected to have a routine day. However, what transpired at a meet and greet in Atlanta swiftly became a spectacle that astounded security, fans, and even Mendeecees. As Mendeecees took the stage, the room was alive with excitement from the eager fans waiting to see the love and hip-hop star. Posing for selfies, signing autographs, and responding to lighthearted queries, he welcomed the audience with his trademark charm. However, just when everything appeared to be proceeding smoothly, the peace was broken by one fan in particular. When a woman in the front row, wearing a bright red jacket that set her apart from the others, raised her hand to speak, the drama started. At first, nobody thought anything was out of the ordinary.
Yandy! Hi, Yandy.
This is my husband.
Yo, don't touch me. Tell your husband don't touch me.
Wait, let me. I do it, baby. No, baby. I do it since I was a kid.
Don't touch me.
No, I do it since I was young. I do it since I was young.
Don't touch me, nigga.
Fucking talk to my husband like that. Fucking crazy. Don't talk to my husband like that.
Give me a hug.
Mendeecees nodded for her to continue after giving her a kind grin. She started, her voice wavering a little. I'm a tremendous admirer, but I think everyone here deserves an answer to this question. Everyone's attention was drawn to her change in tone. Sensing the change in the atmosphere, Mendeecees arched an eyebrow, but he kept his cool. What do you want to know? He smiled cautiously as he asked. After a brief pause, the woman exclaimed, Why do you keep keeping the truth about your family a secret? Concerning Infinity, the crowd became silent. Mendeecees and Yandy's former foster daughter, Infinity, was mentioned, which was a delicate subject that had generated discussions on the internet for months. While some supporters backed Mendeecees by claiming that the situation was a private family affair, others chastised him for the way he handled it. However, nobody anticipated that a fan would publicly and personally confront him. Mendeecees maintained his composure despite a slight darkening of his face. He said in a steady but irritated tone, I don't know what you're talking about. The fan had no intention of giving up. You understand exactly what I mean, she retorted, raising her voice. You spent too much time avoiding the questions. We all watched the performance. We all witnessed Infinity's sense of desolation. Do you not believe she is deserving of better? There was an audible gasp from the audience as their enthusiasm gave way to obvious anxiety. As some fans started chatting to one another and others took out their phones to record the drama that was developing, murmurs swept through the crowd. Mendeecees gave security, who were already on high alert, a quick glance but waved them away with his palm. First of all, you don't know the whole story, Mendeecees stated in a firmer tone. It's not only what you see on TV. No one needs an explanation from my family. However, the fan wasn't finished. When you go to sleep at night, do you tell yourself that? She yelled, her words brimming with charges. We've all witnessed enough to know the truth, and your deeds speak louder than your words. You can't ignore this and act as if nothing occurred. The audience was divided at this point. While some yelled in support of Mendeecees, others applauded the fans' audacity. "Go away from him." From the rear, a woman shouted. "You have no idea what he has endured." Mendeecees, who was now clearly irritated, moved closer to the stage's edge and met the fans' gaze. His voice rose a little as he continued. "You've got a lot of nerve coming here and disrespecting me like that. You would realize that family affairs aren't for public amusement if you were a true fan." The fan, however, was unfazed. With an unwavering voice, she lashed back. "Respect is earned, not demanded. And a long time ago, you lost mine." As the tension between Mendeecees and the fan escalated, the audience burst into a combination of applause and cheers. When security eventually stepped in, they asked the fan to leave. However, she refused to back down and insisted that she had the right to question her. To everyone's surprise, Mendeecees abruptly exclaimed, "Let her stay." His jaw was clenched and his tone was fierce. "Let's chat if she is that desperate for answers. However, you had better be prepared for the reality." Unwavering in her defiance, the fan crossed her arms. She declared, "I've only ever wanted that." It became evident that this altercation was far from ended as the audience listened intently to every word. The room was tense, accusations were flying, and emotions were running high. Everyone was curious to see what would happen next, as what had begun as a straightforward meet and greet had now devolved into an emotionally charged standoff. Mendeecees Harris stood on stage, staring at the furious fan who had just accused him of leaving Infinity, and the tension in the audience was palpable. A sea of murmurs and wide-eyed eyes replaced the cheers and laughter that had once filled the gathering. Security guards stood by, uncertain whether to step in or let the event unfold. But Mendeecees had already made up his mind. This devotee was going to obtain the answer she sought his way. Mendeecees started, holding the microphone firmly. "All right." The audience grew silent as he spoke in a cool, collected tone. "Because you've seen a few love and hip-hop episodes, you believe you know everything. How would you feel if your private life, your hardships, and your errors were publicly displayed for everyone to see?" The fan remained still. "That's the cost of being famous," she shot back. "You choose to live this life. Now stop playing the victim." Mendeecees shook his head and laughed bitterly. "The cost of notoriety? You believe this is about that? Notoriety? You have no idea how much my family has endured. Infinity was family, not simply a plot point. Don't you dare stand there and pretend that you know everything, even when I made mistakes." The fan started to reply, but Mendeecees interrupted her with a raised voice. "You want to discuss respect? Where is your respect for people's growth, learning, and attempts to put things right? Or isn't that part of your tiny story?" Despite the murmurs of agreement from the throng, the fan refused to back down. "Why does it still feel like you're avoiding the truth if you come so far?" She retaliated. "When Infinity needed you, why didn't you stand up for her more? Everyone witnessed you leave her hanging." The room was now filled with tangible feelings. As they shifted in their seats and looked anxiously at each other, some spectators were clearly uncomfortable. Others were transfixed to their phones, providing their own remarks and live streaming the conversation. Suddenly, a young man wearing a hoodie who was a fan in the audience shouted up, "Hey, let him speak. You have no idea what it's like to walk in his footsteps." However, another woman added, "She has a point. He never gave much thought to what transpired. We all have the same question." The tension was exacerbated by the crowd's divide. Mendeecees inhaled deeply as he attempted to regain his composure. He spoke in a quieter but no less passionate tone, saying, "Look, what happened with Infinity was complicated. It was about what was best for her, not just about Yandy or me. Doing the correct thing doesn't always look good to other people. Ultimately, though, I am aware that I took the necessary actions to keep my family safe." The fan laughed. "Keep your family safe? Or defend yourself? Because it appears that you took the simple route from where I am standing." Mendeecees' face became stern. "The simple solution?" He reiterated, his tone brimming with irony. "You believe that making judgments like that is simple. To lose a loved one because you know in your heart that it's the only way to ensure everyone's safety. You have no idea who I am, and you most certainly have no idea who my family is." Once more, the audience let forth a combination of applause and jeers. A voice called out from backstage before the situation could worsen, even though the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Enough. When Yandy Harris entered the spotlight and immediately attracted attention, everyone's heads turned. Yandy looked like the powerful matriarch fans had grown to know and love. wearing a sleek black jumpsuit and exuding authority. With her heels clicking on the stage floor, she approached Mendeecees and put a gentle hand on his arm. "Let me take care of this," she muttered. After hesitating, Mendeecees gave her the microphone. Yandy turned to face the fan, who was standing her ground with her arms folded. Yandy said in a controlled and acerbic tone, "I don't know who you are, but I can tell you're passionate about this, and I honor that. But what are you doing at the moment? Trying to put us on blast, calling us out in front of a crowd? You don't receive answers that way." The fan's face wavered a little, but she soon got over it. "So, how can we obtain answers?" Her voice was firmer but quieter now as she inquired. "Because you both behave as like it's not a huge problem every time this comes up. However, it's a huge thing. You pushed Infinity out of your lives after bringing her into them. Do you not believe that the supporters should know why?" Yandy appeared on the verge of breaking as her eyes softened. However, she soon recovered her poise. To the surprise of everyone, even Mendeecees, she acknowledged, "You're right. It's a huge deal. Furthermore, you are not alone in feeling offended or perplexed by the way things transpired. The problem is that you're just viewing a portion of the picture. This story is considerably more complex than what you may have read online or seen on television. And perhaps we will share that one day. However, not in this manner, not according to your terms." The fan blinked, obviously surprised. The audience had become hushed, listening intently to Yandy's every word. Yandy went on in a firm voice, "This is our family. Even though we shared a lot of our personal life with the world, some things are simply too intimate or unvarnished to be shared for amusement. Infinity was and remains a person we hold in the highest regard. We made all of our decisions and actions because we believed they were necessary for her at the time. That is our reality, regardless of whether others agree with it." The fan took a while to reply, and for the first time she appeared uncertain of herself. However, Yandy added, "I appreciate you caring enough to ask." Before anyone else could say anything, "I do. However, you must have faith that we are trying our best if you wish to help us. All we can do is that." There was a brief period of silence in the room before the audience started to clap. It swiftly swept across the auditorium, beginning with a small group of spectators in the front row. The fan in the red jacket appeared to soften as well, but her face was still unreadable. Yandy returned the microphone to Mendeecees as the cheering intensified, and he nodded silently in agreement. Although the immediate tension had subsided, it was evident that the conflict had not been fully settled. The fan in the red jacket stood still with her arms crossed as the cheers subsided, although her former fervor appeared to have diminished. The throng was no longer split, and the atmosphere in the room had changed. Rather, a feeling of discomfort persisted, as though everyone had just watched something more intimate than they had anticipated. Yandy, who was still standing next to Mendeecees, glared at the fan. She said, "We're not perfect," in a softer tone. "We have blundered. All of our actions, however, have ultimately been motivated by love. That's all I have to say." The fan paused, obviously unsure whether to keep up the argument or to let it go. She let out a sigh and took a step back, letting the tension slightly subside after what seemed like an eternity. She murmured under her breath, but loud enough for the audience to hear, "I just hope you mean that." Mendeecees arched his brows as if he were about to answer, but Yandy gently squeezed his arm, indicating to him that he should relax. Rather, Mendeecees returned his focus to the other people in the crowd. With a more steady tone, he stated, "We came here today to connect with y'all, and I understand that people have inquiries. People are looking for answers. However, there is a method to inquire without making it a show. Like you, we are human." The audience gave a mix of applause and whispers in response, but the tension that had previously pervaded the room appeared to ease. While some supporters looked at one another, still taking in what had just happened, others clapped in accord. A fan in the center of the room then yelled, "We love you, Mendeecees," as if to return the event to its original intent. The comment functioned similarly to a reset button. Mendeecees nodded to the fan with a slight smile. "I also adore you all. I am here for that reason." However, a fresh voice broke through the throng before the atmosphere could completely settle back down. "All right, do you mean that you won't discuss Infinity ever again?" Another fan was seen holding out his phone to record, this time a young man wearing a baseball cap. Mendeecees' smile dimmed a bit, and Yandy shook her head and let out an audible sigh. Even after the altercation with the first fan had subsided, it was obvious that the inquiries would not be ending anytime soon. Yandy leaned closer to the mic. That's not what we're saying. We're stating that we'll discuss it when we're prepared, and you'll hear the entire story, not just isolated details. When that time arrives, we trust you will respect our privacy on this until then. Although he nodded, the young man didn't appear quite content. He didn't press any harder though. Mendeecees and Yandy tried their best to restore the playful mood as the celebration went on for a little while longer. They responded to inquiries, posed for further photos, and even chuckled at a few lighthearted jokes from admirers. However, the earlier altercation cast a pall over the remainder of the evening. However, the hostility simmered behind the scenes. Mendeecees and Yandy withdrew backstage, clearly shaken, as the event came to a conclusion and the audience started to thin out. While pacing back and forth, Mendeecees mumbled, "I told you this was going to happen." Yandy, clearly frustrated, rubbed her temples. And what was expected of me? Because one individual might have anything to say, should the event be cancelled? That is not how we must live, Mendeecees. He retorted, "It's not about canceling. We need to protect ourselves. Someone attempts to pull us down every time we put ourselves out there. I'm over it." Yandy glared at him to stop him. "What are you asking me to do? Hide? Give up your job? Don't build what we constructed. You are aware that's not who I am." Mendeecees let out a sigh and lowered his shoulders. I detest that this keeps happening. Yandy, we did the best we could. Why are people unable to see that? Yandy took a step forward, her face softening. People only see what they want to see, that's why. No matter what we say or do, it will always be twisted by someone. We must not allow that to govern us. Mendeecees gave a slow nod, but his expression remained carved with frustration. He whispered, "I just want this to be over." In the meantime, social media was buzzing about the fan wearing the red jacket. Twitter was already dominated by hashtags like #Mendeecees Confrontation and #InfinityDrama, and clips of the altercation were trending. Online, opinions were just as split as they had been in person. While some fans criticized the woman for disrespecting Mendeecees' family, others applauded her for holding him accountable. Fans' emotional response to Mendeecees has shocked them. One tweet said, "Did the fan ask what we're all thinking, or was she acting inappropriately?" Another user wrote, "The story was taken up by entertainment news sites and gossip blogs by the next morning." Mendeecees Harris faces off with bold fan in Atlanta, and Yandy Smith breaks her silence on Infinity Drama were among the headlines. In the love and hip-hop fandom, the incident had become the most talked about topic, stirring arguments that had been brewing for months. The encounter served as a sobering reminder of the scrutiny Mendeecees and Yandy were subjected to. Furthermore, it was evident that the wounds from the Infinity incident had not completely healed, even though they had handled the matter gracefully, at least in public. The question of whether they would ever be able to go on, or if this chapter of their lives would continue to haunt them, hung over them as they got ready for their next public engagement. Even when the night is finished, the drama is still going strong. Mendeecees, the love and hip-hop community is split as a result of Yandy's heated altercation with a fan. Many people are still asking for clarification over Infinity and the family's future. Will this be just another unanswered chapter in the Harris family's history, or will Mendeecees ultimately answer all of the unanswered questions? What are your thoughts? Did the fan have the right to criticize Mendeecees, or did she go too far? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and remember to hit the notification bell, like this video, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any updates on the newest celebrity drama. Watch this space for more. This is only the beginning.